Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good luck to you for listening to us ramble about movies for, honestly, who knows how long. You're listening to 808 and Hot Takes, the show with hot new movies and even hotter takes. I'm Palmer Wells.
I'm Evan Parrish.
And I'm Paul.
And today we will be reviewing the newest installment in the, what is it called now? Sony movies with Marvel
universe.
Characters or something.
Sony's movies has movies in it.
Marvel.
We're still working
Sony
on
makes
that
movies.
acronym.
Anyway, the movie is called Venom. Let There Be Carnage.
Let there be discussion about.
And
Let
now
there
let
be
there be discussion. That's a good segue.
Yeah.
That's a
Okay.
good segue.
You guys start.
Opening thoughts.
You guys start.
So I sat down in 2018. 2017.
We're going back.
2018.
18. And I'm like, okay, Venom. 1. Interesting. And we got a second one, which we saw this evening.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way that we can paint the picture.
Okay, yeah.
Unlike, because you frequent listeners know from our last episode that we had trouble finding our seats. That didn't occur this time around, which was good.
However,
This podcast has cursed our movie-going experience. I would rather have people sitting in our seats than what happened tonight.
what happened tonight was a disgrace, and we're ashamed and embarrassed.
If you're listening, kids, this is a warning.
Yeah.
Do not, under any circumstance, ever talk during a movie. You can whisper to your friends. You can talk in their ear. You can say, "Oh, I like that. That's cool. Oh, this is fun." You do not talk out loud and say, "Oh yeah, I wonder what's going to happen next," and then repeat every line that happens in the movie when you are 12 years old.
The whole movie. Bring parents, don't let your kids go to the movies unattended.
Parents, if you're going to let your kids go to the movies unattended, make sure they have manners. Make sure they know how to conduct themselves.
There was like,
Clearly
how
we
many were there?
lost.
Like 4 or 5?
There was like a group of 4 or 5, but it was only 2 of them that kept talking back and forth. Even near the end, one of their friends turned to next to them. He said, "Shh,"
Yeah.
because they just wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
And I feel like they chose the silences in the movie to
Yeah,
talk
be the
even
louder.
more.
No, because I heard them talking during like the loud action sequences, but even when it was quiet, there was nothing happening. They're like, "Oh yeah," and also this character is gonna appear in the next movie. It's no one cares. No, I don't care.
He's gonna stab her.
Yeah.
Oh, jump scare. Ready for this guy?
And then they say a joke in the movie, and they just repeat the joke out loud.
Yeah.
Clearly, we've lost all our manners after a year and a half being locked away, not going to theaters.
Like, I don't have a stick up my ass or anything, but come on, it's just common decency. Nobody likes when people talk during movies. It's a thing that everyone shares, no matter what their taste in movie is, no matter what their personality is. Everyone hates it.
Yeah.
It ruins the movie. Thankfully, it didn't completely ruin the movie, for me at least, but it definitely didn't make it. It made it less enjoyable.
It definitely made it less enjoyable. Yeah. I don't think they're used to theaters. Because, like, end credits came up, and I heard them because they're loud.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, we can't skip this to get to the post-credit scene."
Of course,
I'm
you can't
like,
skip this.
You're in a theater.
And then even like the girls behind us, like they were mad too, and like when
Yeah.
they were getting up, we talked about it. And we're like, yeah, we don't like those kids.
Yeah. But thoughts on the movie?
The actual
Thoughts
movie.
on the
Yeah.
movie?
What do you guys think?
Yeah, so last time we kind of took it point A to point B, and that worked pretty well.
Yeah,
Did
but
follow that
I guess
same
general impressions.
Yeah. First
General
impressions.
impressions.
Yeah.
First impressions of the movie as a whole.
You seem to have a mixed reaction throughout, Palmer. I was looking over to you. Sometimes
Yeah,
you were
you
laughing, sometimes you were shaking your head.
He did.
Yeah, mixed reaction, for sure. I don't want to give my stance just yet.
Okay.
We'll do so maybe more at the end of the show.
Sure.
Maybe instead we just jump right into
Sure.
it.
Well, I mean,
Yeah. I can lead us off. I don't know. I really don't know about this one.
really?
Yeah. First off, I saw Venom for the first time a year ago, I think, on DVD. I didn't see it when it came out. I don't actually think I knew it was in theaters. It wasn't. I wasn't that interested in it. I wasn't big on Spider-Man and the comics and all the lore when I was a kid, so it kind of passed under the radar, and I think that kind of affected my viewing. I wasn't.
You weren't.
I didn't care about the characters much because that wasn't what I grew up with. In general, I think I was just expecting more from. I was expecting more from the movie, more from the runtime, more from the headroom. Yeah,
that was weird.
Yeah, that was.
No, I think that was the theater's fault.
I feel like that was a theater.
That was a theater's fault because at the beginning with the Columbia logo, it was cut off.
Cut off, and
I think that's the theater's projection fault. Everything in the movie was sort of cut off a bit,
and I think that affected my.
Yeah, I'm not gonna blame the movie for that.
Yeah, I think I'll need to revisit this movie when it gets released, just because I know I missed some stuff with them talking all movie, and I'd like to see it with all the headroom, and I think a rewatch could be worth it for me.
Yeah. Well, I might be the minority in the room because I thought it was fucking great. I like this movie. I love this movie. This is a really fun movie. If you guys like fun, campy movies that are stupid and fun and that don't care about being taken seriously, this is a movie for you. This is fun. And I know you guys have, I guess, different taste than me, but this is basically whatever was really campy and like silly and goofy about the first movie. Andy Serkis took this movie and he's like, okay, let's just do more of that, because I think he was thinking, we're not going to be able to make this movie take itself seriously and be good and have people have like the same fans as the old one enjoy it. So might as well just go all in on whatever what it's like.
Did Andy Serkis produce this?
He directed it.
Oh, he directed it.
Andy Serkis directed
I missed
this
that
movie.
in the credits. Whoa, okay.
I just knew that about the production in general.
See, I think that was my issue. Was I was expecting like standard Marvel take itself seriously. I didn't know the director. I didn't know it was gonna go after all the campiness.
Yeah.
So I think that also I was kind of I think I was more confused.
Yeah.
If anything. Yeah.
That makes sense. Do you wanna
Palmer's
awfully
quiet. From the beginning?
Sure. Yeah. We can go from the beginning.
Oh, the
If that helps you.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's the school at the beginning. Not the school. The Reform Institute.
Unwanted Children.
That's another thing. When I was expecting more from the movie, more runtime, more headroom, more exposition.
Yeah.
I wanted more of just everything, I think. But
It was good. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, like the formula states, you got who's the villain. So I guess we got that with the V for Vendetta kind of communicating with the prisoner through the pipes with the walls.
Very short.
Yeah, it was short enough where, there wasn't a whole lot of, for me at least, substance with their relationship.
I mean, it had like what it needed to have the plot, and it didn't drag itself. I think it was better to just throw it out there as it was, rather than drag it on for too long and become boring. I think that was a lot of what I liked more about the movie is that if it had the same, like what it was for an extra half hour, 45 minutes more, it would have dragged on for too long, because as it is, I think it's a very compact movie and meant to just go by really quickly.
It did do that, that's for sure.
It definitely did that. Yeah, that opening, I didn't mind that opening. I thought the opening was solid. It set up the villain or the villains and their relationship, but like later on in the movie, he's talking about this church that's nearby, and I'm like, I would have liked to see him was the church close? Was it far? They kept talking about the church.
I thought they just picked a random church.
I thought they just picked a random church too. But
I didn't know they kept talking about it.
But it sounded like, because they were like, the church in the distance that I see, or some line like that.
Oh no, I think that was just his like his poetry thing, or like his whatever.
So it was just a random church?
I think it was just because I think it implied that when they were younger they used to exchange poetic lines to each other as like a sort of lovers thing.
I thought it was like a church they had seen. I'm like, if there was a shot of him looking at the church and they can't quite reach it, now they're there for the wedding, I'd be like, okay, cool.
Because he had a thing in like the first act of the movie where they say a bunch of nonsense and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, put this in the papers," and there's like a message to his lover.
Yeah, I
That sort
thought
of
the
thing.
church was something from their past, which is why I wanted
Yeah.
more exposition. But
I
if
mean,
it was
could be,
random,
but
then
I felt like it was more of just like
then-
a poetry thing.
fair enough. Then yeah.
I think we should also say at this point we are spoiling the entire movie,
Oh, right. We always forget.
That comes with the podcast, I
but
think. Watch out! I'm sorry.
it's fine. If you don't care about the movie, it's fine. And if you don't want spoilers, do not continue. We spoiled the opening scene, which was we didn't really even talk about it much.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
I forgot Naomi Watts was in this movie.
She's a screaming girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's Calypso from Pirates of the Caribbean. She's also in...
Right. Okay.
Mm.
I recognize the name. She's in Birds of Prey. Was that her? No, that was someone else. I don't know her very
that's
well,
someone else,
so-
that's someone else, yeah.
Yeah, you probably know her better, but that's
Someone else.
fine. No, she's all right.
Yeah.
After the opening.
After the opening, he's talking to the little Italian policeman from The Irishman.
Yeah,
guy.
the guy, Mulligan. I think that was his name,
Oh,
character's name.
Right.
Yeah, something like
Which
that.
and they showed his name tag in the opening scene, and so immediately you can connect like, oh, that's that guy. I didn't know if he was in the first movie. He probably was. And just
I don't
didn't
think he
remember.
was.
I don't
You know
think
what?
I don't think he was, no.
Maybe not. I don't remember.
Yeah, they will. So they give us that where Venom takes him into the woman's bathroom, the stall, and I'm like, okay, I know exactly what this movie's gonna be like.
Yeah.
Because that we're just like, hey, this is what you can expect from the next 90 minutes.
Yeah. It doesn't try to be more than what it is. It doesn't try to be like a grandiose superhero comic book film, really epic and whatever. It's tries to be like a fun little movie. Because the first one, I think it was viewed as a lot of as like a buddy cop movie, sort of. Because it's just them two sort of bickering the whole time, and like they're not solving crimes, but they're doing their thing. And here it's just that, but more, in a way.
I think I'll need to rewatch both of these movies later because I was just expecting standard Marvel.
Yeah, that's just not what it was.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. It does something a little different.
Also, this is the second Marvel movie in a row to take place in San Francisco. Just a fun little.
It took. It
fun
did
little
place
thing.
like
They were
in
in
San Francisco.
Francisco.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what 3 movies now. 3 Marvel movies in San Francisco.
Well, Sony, Marvel, but yeah.
Yes,
It's a
I
Marvel
will-
character movie.
I will be considering Sony Marvel as Marvel for this podcast,
Go ahead.
which now it kind of is.
Now-
Spoilers.
Yeah.
But we carry on. He's introduced to the cop.
You introduce the cop, and then the cop is like, "Oh, you gotta go solve this stuff with Cletus Cassidy. Go talk to him, get some information." And then Venom's like, Eddie's like, "Oh, I don't want to do it." And no, they say he doesn't want to do it. And then Venom's like, "You gotta do it." And then he wants him to do his job. He wants him to be successful. And they sort of have like a whole dichotomy throughout the film. And Venom wants to go out and do things, and Eddie just wants a nice, peaceful life. And that like sort of splits them apart throughout. And that's the sort of that relationship is what the movie explores. More or less, it's basically it's kind of like a rom-com. It's about the relationship, and that's really what the movie's about. And
Yeah.
I think that's fun. It's new. And he goes and talks to the guy Woody Harrelson, which I was sort of worried because when they announced him for the role, I was like, really, Woody Harrelson, out of all people, to play like a serial killer. Woody Harrelson's like kind of like an odd guy in some roles, but
I think he did.
he did
well.
okay.
He did fine.
I think other people might have done it better. He did fine. I didn't. It's fine either way. Like I didn't hate it. Didn't love it. It was all right. Tom Hardy was fun.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy's never really bad. He's funny.
Yeah, because Tom Hardy, he's really into the role for some reason.
He really likes doing this.
Yeah,
it's funny.
He really does go all in.
Yeah.
I mean,
good.
he half wrote the script with the girl. I forget her name.
He did. Yeah, written and produced.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
right. That's right. He worked a lot more on this movie.
Yeah, but I was finding the dialogue pretty bad.
Bad. I mean, I'd say the word on the nose maybe.
I felt it was worse than that. I felt like it was I felt like the 12-year-old boys behind us really liked the funness of the first movie and then wrote their own script and then that got made. I don't know. It was just riddled with cliches and unfunny humor.
That was sort of funny. I laughed at it.
Some of the stuff was good. So some of the stuff I got a chuckle out of me.
It was pretty absurd and silly, and I think that's just my thing. Because Venom kept interrupting every single line. I know you didn't like that because you'd find that annoying, but I thought it was funny that he just kept coming in, and they just kept going back and forth, and it sort of just disregarded any importance of the plot. It was just like, hey, look at these guys, they're funny. Let's watch them bicker like an old married couple.
Yeah.
And like that sort of explored that, and it was really, without saying it was just saying like Venom and Eddie are gay, and I thought that was cool. It's sort of representation without explicit representation. But even during the whole scene in the club later on where Venom's like dancing in the club with everyone and he's like, oh, I'm out of the closet now. I'm free. And
out of the Eddie
closet. And he's surrounded by obviously like a whole group of LGBT people and that sort of culture of partying and celebrating each other and love and all that sort of thing, pride. And I thought that was a sort of fun moment, and I knew about it before watching the movie, so I was expecting it, but I thought that was sort of fun, and is what a lot of the fan base of the first movie wanted, and I thought even if it's not what everyone enjoys, at least it appeals to people who wanted this movie, and I appreciate that, and I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there isn't
The one thing I did enjoy was the animation. Like I
that
thought
was
the animation
a cool
was
animation.
rock
like
solid.
the drawings. You mean when he was reading the
drawings,
or like the CG animation?
the drawings and the CG, like
Right.
that party scene especially.
Yeah, I think there was really impressive
That-
how there was like
that
the
was-
lights on them,
that
the
was
colors.
solid.
That was really
the lights,
good.
The glow sticks.
That's probably the best
He was so
thing
in
in the movie.
the frame.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So
So
that, I agree. Yeah, I was thinking about that when I was watching. I was like, damn, they got all the color reflecting off him really well.
that was the scene that made me think like, oh, this
yeah,
like,
that was
solid
one of the
animation.
best animated scenes in the movie. I'd say.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah, Andy Serkis. I mean, if anyone knows,
Sure. If anyone
Yeah.
knows CG animation,
Yeah.
it's him.
it's gonna be him.
It's kind of the director of more movies.
Yeah, is this his first?
I know he directed a Jungle Book remake a few years ago
Oh,
called Mowgli. I'm pretty sure,
Oh, right.
and that was all
Yeah.
motion capture.
Right, yeah.
And it was going to be a big release, but then eventually it didn't get as much attention because there's like so many Jungle Book remakes that kept live action remakes that kept
Yeah,
being
Jon
made.
Favreau did one.
And then there's like another one that was made as well, and so his got sort of like tucked away and no one paid as much attention to it, even though it was like sort of a big deal with all the motion capture animals and whatever he was doing. I haven't even watched it, but I heard of it. And I don't know what else, if he's directed anything else, but he's definitely he could do stuff. I think he has like an eye for just sort of fun, like doing stuff with the characters, and he's just telling them to have fun with it. I think.
Yeah, he's been working on movies for long enough where
Yeah.
you got to think he has just some idea of
Yeah.
he
the
has
process of it all.
5 director's credits on IMDb.
Oh yeah.
Venom, Mowgli, and then 3 things you've never heard of. The Ruins of Empires, a TV movie in 2018.
Mhm.
Breathe in 2017. And Heavenly Sword, a video game from 2007.
All right. Well, then this is a second feature-length film.
Second feature length.
Yes.
Credit. That's not bad for that.
Yeah. Anything else?
So
I
I
guess
guess
moving on.
are we?
That was
We're
that,
lost our structure.
that was a solid transition.
Yeah, no, I
there.
sort of
that's
jumped
fine,
to that
I
because there isn't a ton to talk about in terms of plot for this movie.
Because there isn't really one.
I enjoyed the Venom and Eddie solving crime. That was
Yeah,
kind of cool.
I think that cool with the thing,
the-
him speed drawing.
Yeah,
And
speed
where did
drawing,
I
and
see
then-
that? Oh yeah, I've seen it in like lots of things before. People with powers being able to speed draw because of whatever.
Yeah, and then figuring out the crime. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah,
It was just a lot of just like fun stuff. They were. This isn't a movie to take too seriously and be like, oh, I can't wait to see this action movie with like a strong protagonist and antagonist and see them face off against each other. It's just sort of, I want to see this like really goopy guy like beat the shit out of people
And I think
whatever.
that caught me off guard.
Yeah. I guess I should have maybe just said that before, like,
because
warned you guys.
Because I knew they plan on bringing Venom into the MCU.
Yes.
So I was expecting this to be like really getting the form,
like comedy, yeah.
Into getting Venom like as a transitional movie to get him to fit into the form and the mold of MCU movies.
Okay.
So that's
I guess so.
Because I heard they had toned down the violence and they had reeled in a bunch of stuff to get him to fit into the MCU from the first one. So that kind of caught me off guard. And then again, I'm not a huge Venom fan, so I was just kind of like, yeah. I'm
not a huge Venom fan, but I knew a few things. I saw the cartoons when I was a kid, and he was in there.
Didn't even know there was cartoons.
They were the Spider-Man cartoons, I mean, and Venom was in a lot of episodes, and especially in the 90s when where Carnage comes in. Basically, Cletus Cassidy is in the Ravencroft Institute prison, which isn't in the case in this movie, but he is there, and then I think Venom breaks in, and then a piece of Venom falls off or something, and Cletus Cassidy gets a hold of it, and that becomes Carnage, which is essentially the son of Venom, or the spawn of Venom.
Yeah.
Which is also carried into this movie where he's like, oh, father, he calls him father.
Yeah.
Which is funny, is I'll call back to the thing. And Venom gets all scared, which is funny.
Also, what was up with Tom Hardy's pinky?
What happened with his pinky?
His pinky was all weird. You didn't notice?
Oh, yeah, it was like all bent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only noticed that on like a few shots.
It never looked normal.
I only noticed it subconsciously.
Yeah.
It might have just been a character thing where he's just sort of bent out of shape a little bit. He's not doing great. Or I don't know if that was a thing in the first movie. It was just Tom Hardy being himself.
Maybe Tom Hardy's like, listen, Andy. Eddie Brock's his pinky man is messed up. It's messed up.
It's gotta be, and
it's gotta be all.
Circus is like, okay.
It's got arthritis, man. I don't know what to tell you.
He wrote it into the script.
Of the symbiote,
He's co-writer. He's like, oh yeah. Also, Eddie has a bent finger, a bent pinky.
But
that's funny, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think I also wanted a bit more between what's his name,
Cletus Cassidy.
Cletus. I wanted a bit more between Cletus and Eddie.
Oh, I guess
because I don't know. I was fine with it for the most part up until the very end when he's like, I wanted you to be a friend, and I'm like, whoa, where's this coming from? You only wanted the guy for an interview like 2 days ago.
Yeah, I guess because they were talking, he was like sort of trying to be like, oh yeah, do this, and I'll give you this. I'll share my life story with you. I know they didn't explore it too much. There might be.
And he was also like, oh, you and I are the same, and I'm like, you just met this guy. You don't really know him.
No, I think they might have known each other a little bit before. There's been a few interviews in the post-credit scene in the first movie. He meets up with him.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
Okay, I forget.
Yeah,
that.
so they have a pre-established relationship of like interviewee interviewer sort of thing. Okay. And also in the first movie, I think Cletus had an afro. Is that a big curly hair? Yeah, I don't know why they changed that. They made sure that in every scene that Woody Harrelson is in, he has the worst haircut possible. Yeah. Just like all the way down. He tries fixing his hair only to make it worse. Yeah. And I think that was sort of funny. It just looks terrible the entire movie.
Yeah, I feel like throughout the movie they were like, oh wait, we got to try to have some emotional resonance. So they throw things in with nothing behind them, and it falls flat.
Which also confused me a little bit more because I'm like, to me they just met. Yeah. So I'm kind of like, oh, you haven't looked at the news. Yeah, you don't know this man's work. You just met him.
He said he wanted Eddie to be a friend.
Yeah.
But he was just using him to get a message out to whatever his girlfriend's name is with that headline.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, did you? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Francesca.
That was another small.
Francis B.
Yeah,
Francis B.
Or something.
Or maybe her last name's Francis.
No, it was FB. Remember the tree trunk?
Okay, I thought it was B. Yeah, FB.
Yeah, Facebook.
Speaking of which, was she a mutant?
We didn't. She just had some sort of powers.
We didn't get like an ex.
There was
it's almost like
I know her character, who I think is named Shriek in the comics, was also might have been a symbiote. An alien, but they didn't have a logistical way of doing that in this movie.
So they
just gave her powers.
Because I was looking at it more like getting
could have been
mutants in the MCU, getting
yeah,
Fantastic Four, X-Men into the MCU.
It could have been that. Maybe it's... Well, 'cause I think she dies at the end of this movie anyway, so
Oh, yeah,
she's
she
not
gets
going to go back to her...
crushed by a giant bell.
Yeah.
But I'm looking for like a reason for her to.
They didn't give an explanation. They're like, oh yeah, she has powers.
So I'm curious.
And they're dangerous.
Is she a mutant?
Could have gone with a little more exposition, I guess.
So you say you want more exposition with her. The
But-
cop's eyes were glowing blue,
That-
and we just carried on. Where'd that come from?
Oh,
I wanted more exposition
don't
with
worry
that.
about it. He got something in his system. He got like a little cold. He got a little bit of coronavirus.
Venom 3.
I believe Shriek, the cop.
Yes.
That's what got me.
I was a little confused with that.
I want more exposition for that.
I don't care enough about it to worry about it. It's like, oh, he got glowing eyes. Who cares?
He's gonna come back, but
He might come back. He might not. Because if Venom's in a different universe now, speaking of the end credits, we're skipping to that.
one more thing.
Yes.
I also like that Sony dodged their trope of dropping blondes down church steeples and them dying. Because I was getting flashbacks.
Oh yeah, Gwen Stacy.
And she was caught,
You're
but
right.
I'm like, I feel like we've
She didn't
been
die.
here before.
Yeah, we have been there before.
Church steeple, blonde woman just falling to her
In a
death.
Spider-Man type movie.
Yeah. But
That's funny.
an end credits scene.
Yeah, there was like a mid-credit scene
Mid-credits
where
scenes.
Venom gets teleported into the Spider-Man Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Bam.
Spider-Man and J. Jonah Jameson's there, and he's like, "Oh, Spider-Man, he's a menace.
So
Oh, look at him." And then Venom for some reason wants to kill Spider-Man.
That's another
He
thing.
licks the
That's
TV.
another thing that got to me.
But it could have been some sort of situation where he recognizes him somehow, or there's some sort of multiverse thing.
I'm sure there'll be an explanation. But
Or he just thinks he looks tasty. He just wants to kill him.
As the movie was going on, I'm like, yeah, Venom's a protagonist. Venom's a hero in this, but
Yeah.
he's supposed to be
He's supposed to be a Spider-Man villain.
Yeah, the opposite of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And
So there could be some way where they twist that, where he's like out of his mind and he just wants to kill him for some reason. And then, that they can make him fun with that later on. It's not my problem
as
right now.
sudden as them just bam into the MCU.
Yeah, I don't know how he's gonna fit. It'll be interesting to see how they do that.
He'll be a real silly character. He'll be really funny.
He's gonna be really toned down.
Which is
Speaking of toned
Tragic.
down, I wish this movie had an R rating. I really wish it did. It could have benefited from that if we saw people getting ripped apart and eaten and killed, and their like heads getting ripped off and bodies.
they wouldn't be
exploding.
allowed in the MCU if they were.
They wouldn't, but it would be even better for the movie.
Kept cutting away.
And for the character of Venom.
Yeah. It was funny. Venom wanted to eat some chickens, or he didn't want to eat the chickens he had at home. I thought that was funny. The chickens.
He named them that.
Yeah,
that was
they're
funny.
friends. He doesn't. Oh, I forgot the names. Like, oh,
Sonny
they're
and
friends.
Cher.
Sonny and
Cher,
Cher.
that
They're
was fun.
friends. He's not gonna kill them. He's tired of eating chocolate because it has phenylalanine in it, which apparently he needs to live.
Yeah.
Which was never a plot point before. They just brought in this movie.
Yeah.
He needs to eat brains, which is funny. They give a reason for why he wants to eat people's heads.
Yep.
And it's just mostly a comedy.
Yeah, and we got to what ended up being the climactic battle.
In
And
the
I'm
church,
like,
yeah.
and I'm like, this movie's been playing for like 45 minutes, I swear.
It went by really quickly, and I appreciate that. I'd rather that than a movie that's sort of same but takes way too long, and that it sort of feels too repetitive, and it doesn't get anywhere. And because at least if it feels short, then it doesn't feel like you've wasted time with it if you didn't enjoy it. At least this time it's like, oh yeah, it's like a short, like, oh.
I too was surprised at how quickly we
Yeah.
got to the final battle.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, everything just went by. There wasn't any time wasted in the movie. I think they just went like there, and there. Oh, here's this is happening. This is happening. These characters are fighting. Now they're together again.
yeah.
I feel like I appreciate that. It just didn't waste its time with that. It did what it wanted to do and got out of there. And at the end, they're sitting on the beach, and then Venom tells Eddie that he loves him. I think that's funny.
Yeah.
They explicitly state that they, even if it's not like a romantic love, it's still like a strong bond between them. And they call themselves the Lethal Protector.
Yeah.
So that's a fun name
Yeah.
for them. And they're like fighting, and they're like blah, blah. And Tom Hardy's funny, and it's a funny movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one,
The first one was a little more serious. If anything, just tiny bit more. This one
the
let
first
loose
one was
little
a lot more serious. This one wasn't serious.
This one let loose a lot.
The first one was a lot more serious because I guess they felt like, okay, so the character of Venom is serious. It's the first one wasn't R-rated though, I don't think.
No, it wasn't.
And they could have gone two directions. They could have taken the seriousness from the first one or the few funny parts from the first one and run with it.
Yeah.
And obviously, because they wanted into the MCU, they took the latter.
I guess so. Yeah.
And I feel like they went all in on that.
Yeah.
As opposed to having any substance. Because there really was nothing there. It was just, let's have a fun time, let's laugh.
Yeah.
And
which is nothing wrong with it. It's just not... it caught me off guard.
Yeah.
Which I'll keep
yeah, I mean, it's just... You should know if you want to watch this movie. Don't look for a movie with like a strong story. God, Palmer. If you want to have a good time, you can watch this movie. If you like the character of Venom and Eddie Brock,
watch him get destroyed.
Yeah.
And just dismantled to another MCU character.
Well, I mean, if you like the characters they were before, they're pretty much the same characters as before.
It's tough.
Except on laughing gas.
They were pretty silly in the first one. They were arguing a lot in the first one. They were like, "Oh, you never let me do this." Oh, blah, 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 and they keep arguing.
This was different. This was constant.
It's tough because, like, by definition, it's an action movie, and it's advertised as an action movie, but it's more at its core a goofy comedy, and I think that. Yeah, again, I'm lacking the words. It caught me off guard.
Yeah, it's one direction to take it, I guess.
One direction.
Also, I would have liked, just as someone who isn't familiar with Venom's backstory, I would have liked a little bit more exposition on Red Venom, as opposed to just hearing Venom say, "He's red, he's stronger than us." I'm like,
but why?
Really? Like, why? Even just like a line of how he was created, or like,
yeah, they didn't talk about that a lot in the first movie
how
either.
Venom can reproduce.
Yeah.
So that confused me a little bit.
They could have made a whole movie more about like explaining everything a lot more and developing those characters. But they made this movie, and I'm okay with that.
I liked the dynamic with the convenience store lady.
Yeah,
I
Mrs.
thought that was funny.
Yeah, she's nice. Yeah, she's pretty good, and she called the guy a pussy, and that was funny.
She knows Venom and she knows Eddie.
Yeah, and she's like in a good relationship.
Yeah, they can rely on her. Venom can rely on her just on his own.
Yeah, and she's like taking care of him. That was cute. Yeah.
I thought that was fun. I enjoyed that bit.
I like the music in this movie. It was interesting. There's some moments where you notice music. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, like the soundtrack in general, and then they played like Lacrimosa in the church, which was funny.
Yeah,
I like that song.
But then they play like the Black Keys randomly in the middle of the movie.
Oh, for that establishing shot.
Why are you playing the Black Keys right now?
I would have liked a bit more from that establishing shot. Just keep the song going. Get a few more like aerial wide shots, because I like my establishing shots. Just keep the music going.
Yeah, and then the first part of the credits, there's a song with Eminem on it. He came back, did another little Venom bit.
Back.
It wasn't as good as the first Venom song, where he was like Venom, and he just kept saying Venom over and over again, which is really funny, and I thought that was funny. It's fun to make fun of, and to joke around with. It was fine. And there's another song at the end that I like. It's a Starface song at the very end of the credits.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty cool song and nice production. It sounded really cool.
Yeah.
I have to listen to it again later, but I'm sure other people like that too. It's a shame that's at the very end, because they could have put that at the beginning. It would have. It's a good tone for the movie, I think, especially since it was written for the movie. I think.
Yes. Oh, and they're playing it right at the end.
Yeah,
which
is
unfortunate. It was because like some of the lyrics were talking about.
Yeah. It was
something.
I guess.
I think the song was called like Heroes and Villains, something like that. Is
like one of the lines was like lethal, whatever they call it. I think something like that.
So they could have put that somewhere in the movie where it would have been used more and not wasted at the end. But it's okay.
After the.
After everything.
Too.
Where there's like 5 people left in the theater.
Yeah.
And we're half of them. That's okay.
Yeah.
Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
They said it. They said it.
They said it
lightning and everything. They said it.
Woody Harrelson said, "Let there be carnage."
They said it. They did it.
And everyone was like, "Oh, he said it. He said the title. He should have said Venom. Let there be carnage."
Venom, comma.
Venom, colon. Let there be carnage.
Venom 2.
Venom 2, colon. Let there be carnage.
Yeah.
2021.
2021.
Directed by Andy Serkis.
Yeah, and then look at the camera. But yeah, there was a lot of instances like that with the dialogue where I'm like, oh goodness.
They're just saying what they really want.
Clippable, quotable,
Eddie said
marketable lines.
just hanging around line.
Yeah, that's
Just
he's hanging around. Oh, he's
kinda
a
fun.
goofy guy. He's just hanging around.
Yeah. Do we have any major things to say, or should we move to closing thoughts?
Yeah, my major things is I wish I had a rating, and I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
That's about
How much of this movie was shot during COVID? Any of it? Was it all done before COVID, or?
No, it's done either. It was done during, I think.
All right.
Mostly.
Well, fair enough to them. Yeah, I guess.
I feel like it might have been half and half.
Maybe, yeah.
Because if the first one came out in 2018,
Yeah, they might have started.
I think it was announced like the day after or something.
They might have started early 2020, maybe,
Maybe, yeah.
and then maybe paused for a bit and then continue later on. I don't know.
And then the release dates, like every other movie, just kept.
That's true. It was supposed to be released in 2020, I think.
Yeah, I
it was released later.
wasn't sure how much of it was made during COVID, but yeah, any major things? Just more exposition, I think, as someone who's not familiar with Venom and the backstory of all the characters and the comic lore. I think I might need to. I guess I'm kind of transitioning into final thoughts.
Yeah.
I think I'd be willing to give it a rewatch, knowing what I know now, because I need a better word. I wasn't expecting it, so I think it's worth a rewatch.
Yeah.
Especially maybe like directly after
The
the
first
first
one,
one,
yeah.
maybe as a double feature.
Yeah, I can do that one day.
Without
Let's see.
without talking children and without
I think
the theater cutting
I think
off
those
the
kids
head.
were also explaining to each other the entire movie, like the backstory of the things. 'Cause I overheard them.
They were, yeah.
Which was unnecessary. They
Yeah.
could have talked about it later, like we're doing it now.
But
Just start their own podcast.
start a podcast, kids.
Which
No,
no one
I-
listens
no,
to.
don't
No,
start
don't
your-
start
No.
a podcast. No one wants to listen
Don't
to
watch
you.
movies again.
Stop talking for the rest of your life.
But yeah, worth a rewatch without the kids, without the cut off headroom. If yeah,
That's definitely not the movie's fault. They didn't pull a Last Night on us and just screw up the formatting of the movie.
I was really scared they did there for a little.
No,
bit,
Andy Serkis wouldn't do that. Michael Bay might do that,
Bay might do that
but
to us.
Andy Serkis will not do that to
Marvel
us.
and
But not
Sony
Uncle
are
Andy.
better than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of those shots, like the guy stood up in the church and his whole head was cut off above the neck. I'm just like, oh. But
Yeah.
while this movie caught me off guard, and I have problems with the exposition, there were parts I enjoyed. There was enough that I found enjoyable or somewhat redeeming that I'd be willing to watch it again, give it a second chance, to see if my thoughts can change.
You have a rating?
Star rating or MCU
Star.
rating?
Whatever you want.
Oh, I don't like rating movies, and I
You
don't
don't
like
have to.
ranking MCU movies. I will let you guys
Okay.
rank it.
That's fine.
Paul?
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, I don't have a lot of gripes with this movie, because I wasn't expecting much from it, and I knew it was gonna be pretty silly, pretty fun, and I had fun with it, and like I was saying the whole time, it's just a movie that you can just sort of sit down, and if you like stupid stuff, you can be like, oh yeah, that's fun, that's funny, look at these guys, they're being fun, and I already did rate it, I already did review it, and I gave it 4.5 stars out of 5. Because I like this movie, and
4.5 stars.
because I like this movie. It's a fun movie.
Wow.
And it's not perfect because I would have liked an R rating. That's the only thing that I can. That and obviously now that I think about it, exposition would have made more sense. But at the same time,
Just a little bit more.
I didn't need this movie to make sense. This movie was fine to me as it is.
That's fair.
Yeah,
And Power comes out with the hammer.
Half a star.
No, it's
Zero
just
sucks.
it's funny because 12-year-old boys behind us talking about and acting like they know everything was just very symbolic of the movie as a whole. it really felt like, the writer looked at the first one and said, there's a few little fun little bickering moments that really added something to the first movie. Now let's take those and make it into 95 minutes. And that's what they did. I mean, they went all in on that at the expense of pretty much everything else. I mean, we've talked about exposition enough. But yeah, it felt to me like it was just full speed ahead the whole time. I mean, that's why we said it felt like, come the final battle, it was like, okay, there's got to be another half hour in this movie.
Yeah.
But of course there wasn't. And just one thing I remember from the first Venom, one thing that was kind of memorable in a largely unmemorable movie, was that there was something about that final battle which I really enjoyed, because there was a lot of the going from Eddie to Venom, which they did have here at the beginning, I guess, when Venom was scared.
And also during when the bell was ringing and everything. And he kept, like, regressing back because of the sound.
Yeah, the bell. And it was also kind of strange, just the relationship between the two antagonists. There was just nothing really there in terms of substance, and it's just funny and it's ironic, and I know it was intentional, how they pair up the Carnage and then the villain that her thing is sound, loud, high-pitched sound. But I don't know, it just felt empty, and I mean, if you like stupid, silly, funny movies, then you'll love it.
Yeah.
But if you don't, then there's nothing.
Stupid is a good word to use.
So
because it's positive stupid.
It's self-aware stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like trying to be good and trying to be really like cinematic movie, Oscar-winning, whatever. It's just...
there's a difference between not trying to win an Oscar and not trying to have any substance whatsoever. And I think this really kind of drew the line between those two.
Yeah.
And fell pretty hard on the other side. So to me, it's a 1-star movie, probably.
I think Palmer's just homophobic. I think not liking this movie is an act of homophobia. And that's my verdict.
Actually, the only parts I really did kind of like was the times where it was just Venom and Eddie talking about their relationship on kind of a serious manner, because I thought, that's actually there's actually something there. There's actually something to really kind of think about. I'm like, okay, that's interesting.
Gay rights activist Palmer Wells.
The stuff at the apartment was interesting.
Stuff at the apartment.
Big fight between them. That was sort of fun.
Big fight between and then the relationship between Eddie and I don't remember Michelle Williams' name. Anne. It's like that storyline had run its course in the first movie, so she was just kind of there in this one with her fiance.
She was there for just quick plot reasons.
So there was nothing there either. So at the very least, they knew that this is what we are, this is what this movie's going to be.
Yeah. And
they doubled down on that, and they were funny enough, I guess, to get into the MCU, and it did seem, I mean, I guess you can't take the things too seriously. I mean, if Venom wants to show Eddie a little bit of the things he's seen and he's in the multiverse all of a sudden, sure. I mean, Doctor Strange is going to cast a spell and do the same thing.
Yeah.
So it seemed easy, but I mean, you can't think about that too much. It would be interesting to see how he fits in with what's going on in No Way Home and what is an already packed No Way Home. That's certainly a challenge that Endgame had, Infinity War had. There's so much going on, so many characters to cater to. I mean, No Way Home's going to be maybe probably 2.5 hours. If it's less than 2.5 hours, I'll be surprised.
I wonder if he's actually going to show up in No Way Home, because he's on a beach, so they could just...
He's got to have a quick scene.
Maybe end credits. Like I don't think he'll be. I don't think
he's not going to be a main antagonist, but he's got to show up somewhere.
No,
in the background.
In the movie.
He'll be in it somewhere.
It's definitely a way to set up a future Spider-Man movie. but
Oh yeah, that would be fun to finally see him touch him.
yeah, man, you really said "Let there be carnage." That was a
Yeah,
scathing analysis.
Palmer gave him some carnage. I also gave it some carnage, but in the good way. Good carnage.
Yeah, it's just, see, I always think about that one scene in Venom in the big tall building that Rizoma, the main antagonist, that's his base there, and the soldiers come in, and in the smoke Eddie turns into Venom, everything, and I remember how cool that scene was, and how even though it wasn't R-rated, I thought, okay, this is kind of cool that we can get a Venom that's kind of intense and angry and kind of doing whatever he wants. That just can't be the case when you're dealing with the MCU.
I want to see him kill everyone in the MCU. Just start killing people. Who's gonna stop him? Nobody. And he can kill all of them.
See, yeah, Venom, he'd love to do that, but Kevin Feige would allow it.
Kevin Feige.
I'm curious, and I'm not sure whether this will be good or bad. So I don't know whether or not I should say I'm curious or I'm worried. I think I'm more curious. I think we'll see a very different Venom in the MCU than what we've had with Sony. Whether he's toned down, whether he's going to be a lot more evil because you got Spider-Man as the main protagonist. So I'm curious how people will react to a possible change in Venom's character.
We'll see what happens.
Also, I would have liked to. I know it was a post-credit scene.
Yeah.
But I was super interested to see what Venom had seen, whether or not we were going to just see his reaction, or if we were going to get going through the mind.
I thought it was going to be a little Doctor Strange sort of thing with sort of just like flashing through memories of stuff. But I feel like that would just take way too long to animate and to make.
Not worthy of an end credit scene, but something cool that I'd like to see.
But maybe one day.
Yeah, I feel like we've seen the change that Venom's going to kind of transcend into, or rather descend into.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've already kind of seen how... in fact, it's symbolic how Eddie is like doped by people heads off because, in a way, Kevin Feige is Eddie Brock saying, Venom, if you want to come play with Tom Holland, you can't bite his head off.
You can't bite his head off.
See, the movie's smarter than you think. It's metaphorical.
It's a metaphor.
It's all meta.
It's all, yeah. It's very... But no, seriously, it's very self-aware.
Yeah.
And
which I appreciate.
If you like that stuff, you love it. If you don't, it'll be a waste of your time.
It's like
Fast 9.
No, not like Fast 9. I watched Fast 9.
The movie was fast.
It was fast.
It was fast.
It was very fast.
No.
It was very...
It was fast and
furious. It was kind of okay. It was kind of like, we watched Willy's Wonderland together, and that was sort of self-aware and how like just like goofy it is. It's just Nicolas Cage. He's just beating the shit out of things.
I guess Fast 9 was more explicitly self-aware. Whoa, we're invincible, but that's
we're in space.
That's a different podcast there.
I feel like this movie was like... I feel like this movie felt like its purpose was to be the bridgeway from the first Venom to No Way Home.
Which I think it was.
In terms of the character of Venom and Eddie Brock. I mean, I guess Eddie was kind of the same. Also, I don't know, because Tom Hardy's such a remarkable actor. But he's not really doing a whole lot with this character. He's just
having a good time.
He's having a good time, yeah.
Bonked out all the time.
He deserves to have a good time. He's gone through a lot.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the movie's sole purpose was to get that character, tone him down to the point where he fits with whatever they're doing with Phase 4, whatever that ends up being, at the expense of
story,
most everything else. Yeah.
Oh well.
Also, I'm thinking about it now. I'm on a references run.
Yes.
2 for 2 right now.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure, was it Venom or was it Carnage Carnage or like protagonist, antagonist.
Yeah.
Someone said, "Are you not entertained?" I'm pretty sure.
Really? No, I don't remember
I feel
that.
like they did, and that wasn't said in any of the Chris Nolan Batman trilogy, was it?
No, it's Gladiator.
It's Gladiator, but I wasn't sure if Bane said, like, "Are you not entertained?" at some point.
I feel like he would say, but I don't think he did.
Okay,
No,
but I'm
I
pretty
I
sure
can imagine him saying it, but I don't think he said it.
I'm pretty sure that line was, or a line similar to that was said in the movie, and I was kind of like, maybe a reference there. I don't know. I'm 2 for 2 on possible references.
2 for 2 on maybe.
2 for 2 on maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
So if it's 2 halves, it's really just 1 for 2.
No.
But I guess if that's all, then we can rock our outro.
I think we've said our piece.
We're really bad at rambling after final thoughts. Like
That's okay.
final thoughts were like 10 minutes ago. We've just been rambling
15
more
minutes
and
is
more.
good for us, though.
Yeah, well, it's shorter than the last one, so it's not bad.
We're working
like
on
a half
bringing it
hour
down.
shorter.
Yeah, but we will be back soon because we're planning to return to the theaters soon, and you'll see what we see then.
Yes.
We will return
With a movie about a guy.
with another film, hopefully a week from now.
Guy. Maybe we'll also do some rankings. I don't know.
Perhaps.
Some ranking podcasts.
We will see.
We'll
yes.
think about
we
what we're
will
doing
see
next.
what we do next.
Yeah, maybe we'll post
Based on our
again
schedules.
next week. Maybe we'll post again in a month. Who
Maybe
knows?
next year. Maybe when we're dead.
Or maybe
That's not
this
why you're
is our last
subscribed.
episode.
And you will see us in your dreams, in your closet, in your You guys want to wrap it up?
You're
I guess
not subscribed to this podcast
that was a good
for
segue.
consistency.
Yeah.
I guess we should wrap it up then.
Yeah, like rap songs in the end credits. Rap songs, more like rapping the podcast stuff.
Oh, that
See,
was,
whoa, see, I did that.
That was a good segue.
that was
really
a good
good.
segue.
Anyway,
to
that
was a
closing
good
it
segue.
off.
Segue to go.
I feel like addressing segues kind of defeats the purpose of a segue.
We're
I just
doing
thought
this
it was-
thing where we ramble. We had that segue like a minute and a half ago.
Everyone's left.
Nobody
no
listens
one's here.
this far.
No
Congratulations
everyone's gone.
if you made it.
If you made it,
No, I swear we're talking into the void.
We're just talking to each other.
Yeah, no one's here.
Do this
Everyone
last time.
was like, okay,
We
got
will-
their rankings.
we will
Let's go.
continue to do this.
Yeah.
But
No, there's definitely no one here.
But
another movie that we have seen, and
Yep.
we'll be seeing another movie.
Another movie. That was
Very soon.
That's the second movie we've ever seen.
Yeah,
we've seen 2 movies.
we've seen
Shang-Chi
2 movies,
and Venom. Let There Be
Shang-Chi
Carnage.
and
Venom,
we
Let There Be
behave
Carnage.
better in the theater than those 12-year-olds.
We do. Although the 12-year-olds are going to go home and write the script for Venom 3.
Ooh.
Oh, Venom 3. Let there be more Venoms.
Oh, Venom versus Blue-Eyed Man.
Venom versus the cops.
Venom versus the cops. Yeah. Anyways, this is a terrible closing.
No,
This
it's
is
okay.
a terrible closing.
Yeah.
I
words.
feel like
Final.
How did we
endings.
close the last one?
I'm asking Palmer. He closed it.
Oh, all right.
Oh, I was just
the floor is to you.
yeah, I mean last time we were kind of like, hey, this is what the deal with our podcast is. But
Right.
let's be honest, we have no idea what's going on.
And this time
Not
we're
yet.
also like, hey, this is the deal with what our podcast is.
Well, we're 20 minutes off the last one, so we're doing a little better.
We're bringing it down.
It's also,
20 minutes
we had
each
less to
time.
talk about the movie, that's why.
Yeah,
But we'll
I'm scared for the next one, but
we'll
and you
wind
should
it
be too.
down. If you have made it this far, sorry and thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, sorry, thanks.
But yeah,
Sorry,
so I guess
sorry.
with that, second episode, 808 and Hot Takes. I've been Palmer Wells,
I'm Evan Parrish.
And I am Paul.
and we'll see you down the road.
Bye bye.
Adios.